You're pretty good. It's among Metal Gear's most famous phrases, and for pretty good reasons. It's not just a compliment, it's an acknowledgement. It's the equivalent of two people looking at each other in the eye and giving each other an earnest nod. It's that, but put into words. When you say to someone, you're pretty good, you're telling them in the most earnest way, you are worthy of my respect. It's a fine balance where you're not patronizing the individual, it's not just, yeah, you're good, but you're also not sucking up to them either. You're not going, oh my god, you're great, you're amazing. You're acknowledging someone as your equal, nothing more, nothing less. The phrase is brief, low-key, to the point, but there is so much punch to the meaning behind those words put in that sequence. It's simple, no fluff, what you hear is what you get, it's just, you're pretty good, and there is no twisting the meaning behind those words. To celebrate how pretty good this phrase is, I felt compelled to rank all 4 you're pretty good moments in the Metal Gear series from worst to best. I just want to talk about them and discuss what each you're pretty good moment has to offer. Let's start with my least favorite you're pretty good in the series, and that's the one from Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Ocelot is back in Mother Base, training some Diamond Dog soldiers, but one of them decides to get a little cheeky. Not only does he bring a gun with engravings, which offer no tactical advantage whatsoever, he starts to get unnecessarily fancy with his shooting. It's the equivalent of a man who learns how to ride a bike with no hands on the handle. It's a neat trick, sure, but not the most efficient way to handle the tool. So Ocelot calls out the Diamond Dog soldier in question and gives him a lecture about it, but towards the end, gives him an acknowledgement that his fancy shooting was pretty good.
That was some fancy shooting. Pretty good.
Now, there are numerous reasons for why this is my least favorite you're pretty good moment in the series. Let's start with the fact that the phrase is wasted on some random NPC, some nobody. While this is all a nice callback to Metal Gear Solid 3, the line still just feels like a throwaway in Metal Gear Solid 5, with no build-up or epic moment to precede it. Even more damning is the fact that Ocelot doesn't even say the line right. The phrase isn't pretty good, it's you're pretty good. There's a big difference. The you're is what gives the phrase that personal touch, that direct acknowledgement from one individual to another. Without it, the phrase just feels soulless and directionless, like smoke that just dissipates in the air. Pretty good is just a general acknowledgement of a situation. You're pretty good is a direct acknowledgement of an individual. And it's this combination of a lack of proper build-up and the misusage of the phrase that makes Metal Gear Solid 5's You're Pretty Good my least favorite, by far. It's a nice callback, but a throwaway moment of the iconic phrase. One that fails to find its own identity. Fortunately, the series nails the remaining 3 You're Pretty Good scenes. Let's talk about Metal Gear Solid 1's You're Pretty Good, my 3rd favorite in the series. It's one of the simpler, proper usage of the phrase, but that doesn't diminish the overall effect. Ocelot and Snake engage in a tense one-on-one duel, and Snake proves himself to be quite formidable. Ocelot is impressed, excited about the battle at hand. He gleefully utters,
"You're pretty good."
Now this is true, direct acknowledgement of someone as an equal. This isn't Ocelot patronizing or sucking up to Snake. This is just Ocelot telling Snake from one man to another, respect, dude, respect. You're pretty good. This is Ocelot genuinely acknowledging that Solid Snake does deserve his legendary status. He's heard so much about it, but hasn't been able to come face to face with the legend until now, and he's fucking ecstatic about it.
Just what I'd expect from the man with the same code as the boss. It's been a long time since I had such a good fight.
So with both proper build-up and great context, this is a You're Pretty Good moment worthy of the phrase's iconic status. Coming in second place is Metal Gear Solid 4's You're Pretty Good moment, which is just absolutely incredible. Liquid Ocelot and Solid Snake have just finished engaging in an exhausting battle of the ages, with Solid Snake coming out barely triumphant. As Liquid Ocelot lies on the ground, at this point, all the psychotherapy has worn away, and this is Revolver Ocelot we're seeing here. Despite suffering defeat, Ocelot looks at his rival right in the eyes and gives him one final sign of respect from one man, nay, from one brother to another. With his dying breath, Ocelot raises his hands and gestures in the only way he knows how, and then utters,
"You're pretty good."
You're pretty good. Pretty good.
It doesn't get any more beautiful than that. That's what I call true sportsmanship. The battle that precedes this moment makes for an incredible build-up. There's emotional punch behind it. There's also a nostalgia factor, and the line is just delivered perfectly. It was the perfect way to end Revolver Ocelot Saga, coming full circle beautifully from the pivotal events of Metal Gear Solid 3. Speaking of which, coming in first place for the best You're Pretty Good moment in the series is the one from Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. This is where the phrase first began in the Metal Gear timeline, and this is where Revolver Ocelot was born. After being surrounded by the Ocelot unit, Naked Snake proceeds to kick some serious ass, laying Major Ocelot himself flat on his ass. Snake proceeds to lecture the stupefied Ocelot on all of his mistakes, like a mentor to his pupil. This isn't Snake grandstanding. He sees something in the young man, something akin to potential. He feels compelled to teach and develop him, to let him live up to this potential. But Ocelot believes that Snake is mocking him, so he stands back up and tries to confront Snake yet again. Unfortunately for him, he is easily outclassed and laid flat on his ass a second time. It is at this point that Naked Snake acknowledges Ocelot's fancy shooting as impressive,
But that was some fancy shooting.
and concludes with a very simple,
You're pretty good.
even if Snake kicked his ass, he is genuinely acknowledging Ocelot's skills and potential. In that moment, Snake is viewing him as his equal and as someone worthy of his respect. But following Snake's line, "You're pretty good," Ocelot once again believes that he is being mocked, and in return responds with,
Pretty good.
The cocky young man doesn't yet comprehend the honesty behind those words, but at the same time, throughout the game, you can see that Ocelot is taking Snake's words to heart. In their first encounter, Snake suggests to Ocelot that his gun-wielding techniques are better suited for a revolver.
You tend to twist your elbow to absorb the recoil. That's more of a revolver technique.
And next thing you know, in their next encounter, he is wielding, you guessed it, a revolver. After Ocelot gets his ass kicked again, Snake gives him another lecture about how engravings offer no tactical advantage whatsoever.
I see you've got yourself a single-action army.
That's right. There'll be no accidents this time.
You call that an accident? Well, it wouldn't have happened if you hadn't been showing off.
What did you say?
It's a nice gun, I'll give you that. But the engraving gives you no tactical advantage whatsoever. Unless you were planning to auction it off as a collector's item.
And next thing you know, Ocelot comes back with 2 proper revolvers. Hell, by the end of the game, after following in his senpai's footsteps for a while, Ocelot becomes a formidable match for Naked Snake, learning some basics of CQC along the way. By the end of the game, Ocelot does in fact live up to the pretty good potential that Naked Snake saw in him towards the beginning. MGS3 just does such a good job in capturing the essence of the phrase. It's fun, it's playful, but it's also genuine, and there is significant weight behind those words. And this You're Pretty Good scene marks a pivotal moment for Ocelot's character development. This is what kickstarts Ocelot's transformation from the young, cocky Major Ocelot to the skilled and refined Revolver Ocelot that we all know and love today. Which is why it's so fitting that in Metal Gear Solid 4, Revolver Ocelot's last words are none other than "You're pretty good." Ocelot Saga comes full circle. So yeah, there you go, folks, my ranked list of Metal Gear's You're Pretty Good moments and my explanation for why I believe this phrase is so awesome. Let us know in the comments below what the phrase "You're Pretty Good" means to you and how you would rank Metal Gear's You're Pretty Good moments. And to be further updated on all things Metal Gear, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.